Hi, Yulanda. How you doing today?
Hello, I'm doing all right, thank you.
All right, all right. So my name is Nigel Chambers. I'm from Big O Belt Media. It's a complete pleasure to talk to you today. And I know we're here to talk about Colt Massacre One Day in Jonestown, which is available right now on Hulu. But I got to start off by asking, just considering the bravery of yourself for over the years to really be um one of the staples to ensuring that this story gets told over and over and over. And I know how I felt by watching it. And I just can't imagine for somebody who survived this and even having to recount the events multiple times. I do want to start by asking, just by talking about the events today, are you comfortable with it? How do you kind of go about navigating the conversations and also the triggering of the memories over and over? Like I want to start off so we can kind of navigate the conversation today.
Well, certainly I have to acknowledge the fact that it does create at times forms of trauma. And so I've experienced cumulative trauma. However, I have managed always to find a way to navigate through the process because, in my mind, me telling the story, keeping the story alive, hopefully helps others to avoid falling into the traps of someone who has the mentality of a Jim Jones or anyone for that matter, like a gang. Hopefully, it helps those who are experiencing domestic violence and any of those sorts of things. Because the one thing we all have in common, those of us who have experienced these types of trauma, is that trauma is cumulative. It leaves scars and wounds, but those scars and wounds can also be a constant reminder so that you don't repeat the mistakes of the past.
Yeah. Totally understand. And thank you for that. And then I also want to ensure that folks understand that your legacy isn't only just defined by the survival of one of the most horrific events in world history, but also because you came back on American soil and you brought attention to something that continues to be a problem across the board, and that is in terms of one, the treatment of Black and colored folks, and obviously some of the systematic problems within the police departments. There was you've been a you've used your platform and you've used, I would say, essentially all of your resources to also bring attention to racism and sexism in that. Just before we talk about that in particular, I have to know what is you time look like for Yolanda for everything that you've given back in terms of awareness to so many different levels of mistreatment, abuse, and so on, as you mentioned. What is the U time? What is the therapeutic measure? What is the healing factor? What are the tools that you're using day to day to get by?
I think it's my family, the family values, and also having people who are willing to understand, listen, and also commit to the fact that through this whole process, it was nothing that I could control, but ultimately I was able to control the process and not let it control me. And I think that it's really those connections that have allowed the resiliency factor to kick in whenever it was needed. And I also think that I found strength in being able to develop myself into the person that represents those 900, almost 1,000 lives that were lost on foreign soil, and especially those who were of color, who were unable to control what was actually happening to them on a daily basis.
There's no denying that Black women are without a doubt the the strongest of humanity that's out there. And if you've been nothing but a testament to that, I'm curious about uh how have you being again such a beacon for hope and survival? What has been the conversations with your family, your kids, in terms of processing this and understanding a lot of the key things that you said in terms of letting things go that you can't control? Like, what are those conversations like in order to kind of aid them by?
Well, first and foremost, my daughter, who was with me in South America, who is now 48, she has went on to be an attorney. And
Mm,
I told her of the importance of her leaving a legacy that I could be proud of, and that even her father, who has died since then, could be proud of. And I've warned her of the danger of allowing people to control her, and how important it was that she be a strong Black, phenomenal woman who is able to garner her destiny. And uh, she has been a testament for me and someone who has made me proud. And then I had another daughter after that, and she too was constantly advised and informed of the dangers of letting people control you. But
mm.
the only thing is, I may have overdone it, because neither of my two daughters will go to church. They're like, no.
How now?
And
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And even though I became a minister recently,
Yeah.
they have not even come to hear me give a message, because again, they don't like the concept, the
Yeah.
organization of religion. So instead, they told me, well, whatever sermon you preach, you can just deliver it to us individually. So I'm like, okay, whatever it takes. But my the assurance has been for me that I feel confident that there will not be a member of my immediate family or extended family who will repeat the mistake that occurred in our lives.
I think we're having a great conversation today, except for the part of you saying your daughter's 48. Well, how can she be 40? I just recently looked at pictures of you. How can she be 48 and you're 48?
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
confused
I'm
here.
the 68 that became 48, but rest assured, the years have gone on, and even though they may not look that way on the outward appearance, inwardly, I know my age.
You look beautiful. You look beautiful. I mean, you're
Thank
such a
you.
beautiful soul too. And I know the saying that black don't crack, but I also think like there's a lot of wisdom within one soul, which keeps people very much from aging. Seems like you're handling stress and amongst other things very well. And that I'm definitely looking forward to being under your tutelage here. I do want to ask because that's interesting you brought up
Yes.
about your doors. This was going to be my question about what did you do to repair your connection and relationship with religion and God? By one moment you're and as a black man, and I can speak for our cultures that like religion has gotten us through a lot historically and currently right now, and for something that was always seemed to be so promising and so safe for us, give or take. I could imagine there being a measure of trauma built in that for you now. So what has that sort of repairing process with religion been for you over the years?
Well, it's taken me, sadly, I must admit that it has taken me almost 35 years to try and develop a sense of forgiveness and find some sanctity in religion. And because I recognize one thing, my father was a Baptist minister, and I know that it was my faith that brought me thus far. So I had to take that break from religion and the institution of all religions in order to find my way to be able to ensure I could protect myself from the foolishness of preaching, for a lack of a better statement, the foolishness of preaching and recognizing that religion is an opium to the people if you let it be that. So religion can be poisonous if you don't recognize that in the times that we're living in now, they're different than what the historical, biblical information, and you have to find a happy medium.
Yeah.
And it's just unfortunate that those who are so, what I call the Bible packing Christians, they harm more people than they do
Hmm.
good for people. So, sadly enough, I must admit I've had another challenge again with a different denomination.
Yeah.
I had gone from Baptist to Methodist, and
Hmm.
I thought that that would be the end all be all, because they encourage their parishioners to go to school, learn more about the Bible, learn more about religion and whatnot. However, I realize it's not really the lack of education that makes religion a problem, it's the people.
You know, they talk about the gossip in the church nowadays. It's always been the people.
Yeah, it's the people. So it doesn't matter what denomination you are, it's the people.
The people you preaching the word and the people that need to hear it be right in the front row. We know how that
Exactly,
goes.
exactly. But they always think, oh no, not me.
Not
I'm
me.
better
Yep.
than that. Yes. So um so it's unfortunate again that I've reached that crossing the roads where I have to say again, I need a break from it. And
Yeah,
I just have to work on my own faith personally and internally. I don't need an external party to help me navigate.
absolutely. Miss Williams, thank you so much for your time. It's been a complete pleasure in all you do. And you're truly an inspiration to the world. And Colt Massacre One Day in Jonestown streams right now, Hulu.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.